In an authentic hadith, Rasulullah said, إذا قامت الساعة وفي يد أحدكم فسيلة فإن استطاع ألا يقوم حتى يغرسها فليغرسها. Hadith is known by perhaps everyone here. Very basic hadith. He ﷺ said, if the day of judgment were to face one of us or one of you, and you have a little plant or bush in your hand, he ﷺ said, if you can plant it before the day or before the hour happens, then go ahead and do it. Most of the time when we say this hadith, we try to show the importance of planting, right? But here, there is something more important than that, or perhaps as important as planting, which is being optimistic. How do we get optimistic from this hadith? Or how do we learn optimism from this hadith? You know, brothers and sisters, when the hour happens, there's no life on this earth, right? There will be no life on this earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, يَوْمَ تُبَدَّلُ الْأَرْضُ غَيْرَ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ وَبَرَزُوا اللَّهِ الْوَاحِدِ الْقَهَّارِ, that in the day of judgment, the whole earth will change into something else. يَوْمَ تُبَدَّلُ الْأَرْضُ غَيْرَ الْأَرْضِ, that the whole earth will change into something else, different from what the earth is now. Now here, Rasulullah ﷺ is telling us, if you were to face the hour and you have this little bush in your hand, go ahead and plant it if you can. Well, why would we plant something when the hour is there? When we know for a fact, for sure, that there will be no life afterwards. What is the meaning of this? Actually, there's not something even more strange to this, which is the fact that when the hour happens, people are supposed now to make tawbah. I mean, Rasulullah ﷺ, or I mean, we would expect Rasulullah ﷺ to say, if you were to face the hour, then go ahead and say astaghfirullah. Then go ahead and make tawbah, or go ahead and say some words so that you will be saved, right? But here Rasulullah ﷺ is saying, go ahead and plant it. Plant a bush. Well, first of all, we have no hope of life after this on this earth. That's number one. Meaning that this bush will have no value. And second, why should I bother about planting something when at the day of judgment, my main concern is to be saved from the hellfire? But here the ulama, or the scholars of Islam, have said that here is where Rasulullah ﷺ teaches us two things. Number one, Rasulullah ﷺ teaches us to work in a way that not only benefit us, but also benefit others. This little bush is something that will not only benefit the one who planted, but will also benefit anyone who would come underneath it, and will use its shade, will help the birds to come, and will be so good to anyone who would have access to. And that, subhanallah, is something that Rasulullah ﷺ always teaches us. Beside our religion, or beside our deen, or beside our acts of worship, that go ahead and do something that will help the rest of the humanity. Not only humanity, but any living thing, we have to be very good for them and to always think about them. Number two, from the lessons, is that, subhanAllah, this even though, okay, let's say that we agree that we have to do something to others, but then this little bush will take so long until it becomes ready to really serve others, right? I mean, the little plant will have to grow up until it becomes fruitful, until it becomes big, so that it may offer shade to people, and so on and so forth. So why would we then do it when we know that there is nothing in there? I mean, that the day of judgment is coming. And here is the lesson, which is, first of all, always have a plan. Always have a plan for the future. Don't just look at the very neighbor time. Always have a plan for the future, even if it were for the long run, for how long it would take this plant in order to grow up and become fruitful. And number two, never, never ever lose hope. You plant it, and Allah will take care of the rest. Wallahi, brothers and sisters, when we look at the situation of the ummah these days, Wallahi al-Azim, most of the people would lose hope. Because they would see, well, thousands of millions of Muslims are there. Hundreds of millions, in fact more than 1 billion of Muslims are there. But what are they? What are they doing? How come Muslims are in the lowest rank on the side of the people right now? Why are the Muslims divided? Why are the Muslims having all those troubles that they have right now? Well, the answer to this is so long. But the thing that we are more worried about is there hope? Is there a hope that this will change? Now, just imagine and just think about this individual, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that when he came to spread the message, he was by himself, and the people at his time were so worse than the Muslims at this time. Right? The people that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to were so bad, were so so bad that they used to bury their daughters alive. Were so bad that they used to kill each another. They were so bad that they used to worship idols and fall prostrating to idols. Those were the type of people that Rasulullah ﷺ came to. Now when Rasulullah ﷺ had hope after he went to Ta'if, and he said to the angel of mountain, but I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring from their descendants people who would worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and never make partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Rasulullah ﷺ had hope with those type of people, why can't we have hope with our own ummah? How come Rasulullah ﷺ would have hope with people who were kuffar, who were mushrikeen, who tortured him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we ourselves would lose hope with people, with our ummah who already are Muslims, who already show love to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Yes, they have shortcomings. Yes, they have major issues, major problems, but still they are in a much better shape than those who used to bury their daughters alive. They are in a much better shape than those who used to torture Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best man ever walked on top of this earth. Brothers and sisters, let me just remind you, with those keys of success of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for sure, sincerity and devotion and dedication, plan, good plan, and that he knew his goals, he knew his target. He's not just doing anything, he was doing something that he knew that he knew exactly what it is. And with all these, and during all of his life as a prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he showed two qualities, two characteristics that we should always remember: patience and optimism, patience and hope, patience and good hope and optimism. Jazakumullah khair. Sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam taslima kathira.